Hey guys, Sean Z90 here. I have no idea where to look on here for the camera, just so you know, so I'm gonna be fidgeting. Um, I have a friend, and he's doing this paper for a sociology class at his college, and they're studying transgender and transgender bathroom laws. Um, and he asked me, "Can you help me with it?" So I was like, "Sure." So, he was asking me a bunch of questions and stuff, and he's like, "What is the most outlandish thing you've ever heard for a reason for trans people to not be able to use the bathroom that they identify with?" And I said, "I think the most outlandish thing and the most, like, unbelievable thing that I heard was that male to female transgender people are likely to be predators, okay? And they're worried about the kids and all this." And I said, "But if you look at the other part of it, imagine me going into a woman's restroom, right? Having to go in there. I mean, I'm not the most manly looking person that you could meet, but I do have a beard, and I am muscular, okay? I'm kind of tall, um, and I'm like, imagine me going in there, or somebody with an even bigger beard and more masculine looking than I am, and using that bathroom. Imagine how uncomfortable they would be, and imagine how uncomfortable the parents of the children would be. Because how can you explain that to a kid? They would be just as confused, right? Also, another thing that people don't realize or don't think about is that trans people are more likely to be the prey than the predator, right? I remember, and I was just talking about this on social media a couple minutes ago. That's what reminded me to make a video of it. Because I haven't in a while. I remember going to Philadelphia for Pride. This was me and Kasha had just met, so 6 years ago, okay? And I remember being like, holy cow, I've never seen this many trans people. And I had never been to a pride parade to begin with. I'm from a small town, so it's not like we have them every year or even every other year, so it was just a new experience for me. And I remember back then, I wasn't on hormones yet, so I didn't look like this, right? If you look at my pre-T videos, which is actually on another channel, I look completely different. I sound completely different. Like, I looked like a 15-year-old boy with a 12-year-old boy's voice. That's seriously what I remind myself of when I watch those videos. So, I already was like, you can totally tell. Like, you know. And I was already, I hadn't gotten my first binder yet or anything. So I was very uncomfortable, very dysphoric, stuff like that. So when I had to use a public restroom, not just in Philly, but anywhere, I would have a guy friend. If a guy friend was with me, I would have him go in with me. If there weren't any guy friends, I wouldn't use the public restrooms because I was so uncomfortable that somebody could tell that I was born in the wrong body, that I was born as a girl, right? And I was so paranoid that people could tell that it scared me to go into that restroom. That's what people don't realize now, even, okay? You guys are so, not you guys, but people are so worried about trans people using the restrooms that they identify with when we're just as scared to do it. Like, for real, especially pre-transition people. We are so afraid to do it because we could get assaulted or even killed. It's happened before. It can happen again. So, when people bring up those issues and everything, I kind of am like, are you that, oblivious to what's really going on here? You know what I mean? And because I understand sociology papers and stuff like that. You have to learn about this stuff. And I'm kind of glad that they have this in sociology classes because it expands the education on these types of things, right? Because there's not a lot. You look at the media is wrong half the time. People don't realize that unless they're experiencing it for themselves. Okay? So I, back to the sociology paper. He told me, I want you to be one of the ones that's against it. Like, I want you to argue the side that's against this. Boy, did I have some things in store for him when he asked me that. Because that's the thing that I think I respect the most of this person is he asked. He asked questions. He asked my point of view on it. He asked. He didn't assume. Most of the people that I meet assume. They don't ask. So I think just him doing that made me respect him a little bit more about that, I'm glad that he asked me. So I don't know, it's a controversial subject, right? Because everybody has these arguments and stuff, but nobody really asks us how we feel. How awkward would it be if you were one of the ones that were born in the wrong body, and you had to bring your birth certificate, your original birth certificate, mind you, and your ID, and if they didn't match up, you couldn't use that bathroom. How awkward would that be? That's like singling us out, right? They're trying not to single out different people or whatever, but you are singling us out when you do that. You are making it even more obvious to people that probably don't even have a clue that we're trans. Not only that, but you're making it more dangerous for us. Like, there's a serious problem with that. That's dangerous for us. Okay? And I don't know. Like, I'm gonna be honest with you, like, half the people that I'm friends with today, they don't have a clue, right? When I tell them or whatever, my best friend, okay? Honestly, she's my best friend, and we just met like 3 weeks ago, maybe a month ago. The most open-minded person that I think I've ever met, and she was like, telling me, because I was telling her about this crush on a girl that I have, right? And she's like, I'll be your wingman. She didn't know there was such a thing as a wing girl, so she said wingman, right? And I'm like, well, there's something you should know if you're going to be my wingman. And she's like, what's that? And I'm like, I'm trans. And she's like, she couldn't say anything. Like, she kept stuttering. Like, she was trying to say something, but she couldn't figure out what to say. And I thought it was so funny. And she texted me later that night, and she's like, I'm going to be honest with you, like, you completely caught me off guard. She's like, usually I can tell. That's a dangerous, thing to say to anybody. Usually I can tell. Okay, and I say that a lot, honestly. But it's like, it's kind of a double-edged sword when it comes to trans people, because I don't want you to tell. Like, I don't want you to be able to look at me and be like, that guy's trans. It's just how I identify with. I don't have a problem with being trans. That's not what I'm saying. But I identify more as stealth trans. Okay? I identify more on the biological guy spectrum than I do with the trans spectrum. So, I don't want you to know. And she didn't know that until I told her. And I said I usually don't tell people. Because where I'm from, like this little tiny area that I'm from, there's a lot of prejudice against trans people because there's not very many of us around. I think out of the small town that I'm in, there's 2 or 3 of us. That's it. Okay. So it gets me in an awkward position when I tell people, especially if I don't know them yet. But I kind of felt like I could trust her, so I told her, and she didn't have a clue. And like I keep getting this because I go to a self-help program, okay? I have been clean off of drugs and everything for a year, okay? So I go to meetings in my area. So like most of the people, they don't have a clue. I don't discuss it. I don't tell them about it. And a lot of them, some of them do know me and do know me from like high school or whatever, or just around because I've been from this area since I was born. So like a lot of people are like, yeah, I knew Sean when he was a girl. And it's like, well, thanks guys. Thanks for putting that out there, you know what I mean? It kind of bothers me when people do that, to be honest with you, but I haven't really said anything about it because, I don't know, just haven't said anything about it. And because this area is so tiny, I'm probably the only Sean that's in meetings. So it's obvious when people are like, yeah, Sean used to be a girl. Gee, thanks, guys. One thing that I do want to mention before I go, and this has been long and drawn out and bouncing all over the place, and I apologize. But one thing I do want to mention is I went in for a consultation for top surgery. Basically looked at my chest and said, you're going to need top surgery very soon. I'm like, yeah, that's what my doctor's saying. And he's like, unfortunately, you have to lose like 5 pounds. Because I was like 1% over the body mass index mark that he wants me at. So he's like, just lose 5 pounds and you got to quit all nicotine products for 2 months. This was a month ago, and I still haven't quit completely. For personal reasons, it doesn't matter. But, like, I'm super excited because once I quit and I'm off of it for 2 months, and then I go in for, like, a urine screen or whatever to make sure everything's out, I'll be in the next, that month or the next, so... I failed my driver's test again. Taken it 2 times so far, so hopefully I pass next time. This time was just stupid. Like, I had way too much on my mind. That's what it resulted. As I just had way too much on my mind. Wasn't focused. Should have probably rescheduled it because, like, the 2 weeks before the test and leading up to the test were terrible. Like, everything that could go wrong went wrong in those 2 weeks. So, I don't know. But yeah, I'm really excited about the top surgery. I've lost like 5 pounds. So hopefully I'll be in like the range that he wants me in. I just need to quit all nicotine products. So, yeah. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And if you did, and if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. And I will see you guys later. Alright, bye.